I'm Fares Micue, and this is how I create.
Welcome to This Is How We Create, a show that digs deeper into the creative life of contemporary artists of color. Discover what feeds their creativity and how they found or are finding their artistic voice. Through these intimate and candid conversations, you'll gain insights into the lives of creative professionals of color that are hard to find anywhere else. I'm Martine Séverin, and this is how we create. Fares Micue talks with us today. Fares is a Spanish, self-taught fine art and conceptual photographer. She started photography back in 2009 after she discovered the photography site Flickr. At first, she treated her exploration of photography as a way to have nice pictures to share in her profile without putting much thought into the photography process itself. Fast forward 6 years, she realized that photography was the perfect medium to share her thoughts, her ideas, and overall perception of reality with others. From that moment on, she took a different approach to the way she created her images. She put extra attention in all of the key elements, such as location, colors, props, feeling, the story, and meaning, to create a final image that is aligned with her original vision. Fares says, as a self-portrait artist, I use the observation of my surroundings, human interactions, and my own feelings to create a beautiful conceptual image. Welcome to the show, Fares.
Thank you for having me.
I am so pleased to have you. I first discovered your work by researching another artist for the podcast. And what was really wonderful is just your use of colors. So you're
Yep.
based in Spain, specifically on
Yes.
the Canary Islands. Can you tell us what that's like?
I think it's like growing in any other island. It's very quiet. The life is slow. We don't have very big cities, so I kind of have time to reflect and think because there is not many things going on. So I think it's relaxing in a way. So that really helped me to concentrate in myself a lot because it wasn't too much going on outside.
What was it like for you as a little girl? Were you always interested in art?
I don't think I was like interested in one thing. I think as a child, I wasn't really introduced to many art forms. But when I had the notion of writing and reading, I started liking to write. So I always write the stories that I would imagine. So I think that was my first touch with art when it comes to create. I always like writing. I still writing to the day of today. So that would be the only thing. I have a big imagination. That's true. I have always been very imaginative. I will always tell stories and be acting around, imagining things. So that I have been a very dreamy girl, I would say.
Well, that's interesting that you said that. I'm wondering, have you gone back and looked at the writing that you did as a little girl?
Sometimes I do. I do not have much. I have just few things, but sometimes I read back some of them. Or maybe not as a child, but maybe when I was like 11, 12, I have more things and yeah, I can see like okay, I can understand my personality now because you could already see something. Actually, people who knew me as a child is not that surprised that I am doing this today because I was kind of a special kid, let's say, when it comes to imagining things.
When you go back and you look at some of your writing, could you see your love of color and your love of creating special worlds or even
Yeah, the special words, yeah. I always have had that imagination. I always had like cartoons with very imaginary things like creatures and not really people, but creatures and different environments, different places, strange colors. I always like that. Even though I wasn't creating them, but I always enjoyed that kind of content from cartoons, from books, and all of that. So my personality have been always taking me that side, definitely.
so you started photography as a hobby in 2009. Can you tell
Yes.
us how that happened for you?
I think it just happened like naturally. I didn't expect it either because before that I wasn't familiar with photography or anything, just the regular photography that you do at home with your family. But I wasn't a big fan of it either, so it was okay. But in 2009, I bought my first PC, my first personal computer. So I had finally that internet world on my hands. So I started searching online to different things. And I came across Flickr and I started seeing the pictures. I found it very fascinating. They are so nice. They are so different from regular pictures that you do at home. Because until that moment, I didn't know about fine art photography, just the regular photography you do. And I found it very fascinating and I really like it. So I started watching and seeing the photography and I would spend hours watching pictures that people was doing. And I thought that maybe I can try to do that because I really liked it. In the sense I'm not that gifted to painting. I was thinking maybe I can still creating something from here because until that moment I wanted to be an actress when I was young. So maybe it was that feeling that I like to portray different characters, to be a different person, to tell different stories. Maybe that's why I wanted to be an actress. But then I found photography and I thought maybe I can still do that. But by photography, I don't need anyone else. I don't need a director or somebody to hire me to do this or that. I can do it myself because I like it. And maybe I can start today. I don't need to wait till tomorrow. First, I started actually taking pictures with my webcam, with my computer. It was very uncomfortable, but that was how I started because I didn't even have a camera at that time. So I started using my computer. I would carry my computer and take pictures with it. And then I will take Photoshop and do some kind of adjustment with the colors and all of that. But it was very different from what I'm doing today, but that was the beginning. And I noticed that maybe it's time for me to invest in a camera and try properly. So I decided to buy a camera, a small one, and I started making pictures. They weren't conceptual, they weren't just portraits, but I would try to work the light and try to do some photoshopping and this and that. It wasn't good, but it was different. And I started to think like, oh, maybe I can keep learning from here. So that's how it started. Yeah.
I'm curious, did you pursue acting?
I did try a little bit, but definitely it wasn't hard enough because maybe something inside me was telling me that maybe that wasn't my path. So I know myself that I wasn't putting not even 50% of the effort on in that. But I just liked the idea of that creating something that wasn't there, a different story, portray something that somebody that I was not, and I can share and a story that can actually somebody can find meaning in that interpretation, even if it's not me. Maybe the person who's going to see can feel something different. So I always like that idea to share something that another people can identify with. So I think that's why I didn't pursue acting that much because I was feeling that maybe that wasn't my path. So I tried because I like it, but not hard enough, definitely.
I understand. I think
Yeah.
one of my first dreams was to be a writer, but
Oh,
I would write stories and I never like
share.
I just think about the amount of work and effort I put into my photography versus what I used to do. Right? It's
Yeah,
not the same.
it's not the
Yeah.
same. You can definitely feel like it's not the same. That's what I feel now. Okay, I didn't try hard enough.
Hmm.
Obviously, my heart wasn't there. My heart wasn't there, so you can see it.
Well, in looking at your work, especially when I go back to some of the first photos you posted, it's so different than what you post now.
Yeah,
And as you scroll through, one of the things that's interesting is to see how the elements that you used to have. I noticed that you used to, and you did a series with paper. Is it paper?
paper cranes and
Yes.
planes and yeah,
So you were using that way back when, and then you used flowers too, and so
yeah,
and then you used the bowl, the fish bowl
exactly.
that you're so well known to you for using now. But
Yeah.
you use it here and there. Can you tell me when the switch happened for you in terms of really going deeper into the fine art part of your work?
It was quite recently because I was creating from the beginning. When I started, my only purpose was to keep learning, keep doing better. So I will try at the beginning. I really like portraits, so I always focus myself in sharing emotions with my face, with my eyes. So I always would be focusing in the my face, like portraits, like pure portraits. But then I was still using like flowers, some elements to it. And I think I've started noticing that I wanted to create more deeper. I took a little bit of a break to actually rethink about what I want to create, what it's that I really want to share. Is there really a message that I have inside that I would like to share with the world? And how would be the best way to do that? So was the moment that I started thinking like deeply about what I was doing. It wasn't about anymore about learning because I thought I'm already know enough and to create something more meaningful. I'm already know quite enough. So I think from 2017, so it took me quite a lot of years to get to that point where I can think about fine art photography as an actual job. There's something that I can do and I can live from, and I can share something that can be meaningful for other people too. So I start thinking and writing down. I think that was key element that I start writing down like what I want to achieve with my photography, because at the beginning I was just making images. I wasn't really writing down too much about it. But from that moment, I start writing down what is the meaning of this? What is the message that I want to share with this image? Which element can help me to share this message better? And actually, I noticed it that I always use flowers. I had some elements already that I always use. And then I'm very sensitive as well. I really like colors. And I was like, colors is also a good thing to use in my photography in order to keep sharing further my message, not only with the element, but the color definitely creates some kind of different energy depending on the colors you are using. Because I'm sensitive to colors. When I see reds, it gives me like that excitement. When I see yellow, it gives me that energy, that pushing to do things, that happiness. When you see blue, they always come this melancholy, this sadness, this kind of different feelings. So I thought that I can use that color therapy in my work too, to keep creating. So I think from 2017 and 18 is when I decided that, okay, now I can feel that my face is not that necessary anymore to definitely share the message that I want to share. And I also wanted to take my face out of the image because I wanted anybody to be able to place themselves in the character of that person, that place. So if my face is there, even the person can do with my face, but I think it's even better if my face is not there, that they can imagine they are themselves the one in the image. So it's not about me as Fares anymore, because it's like I'm not there. It's a character, it's not me. It's I detach from the person in my pictures and myself outside of my images. So I think that really create the shift in the way that I was creating my images, when I realized that me as Fares is not that important anymore to be there. Just the message that I want to share. So the person who sees can place themselves in that feeling and maybe receive it more deeply.
That was amazing on so many levels. I love how you talk about like the writing in terms of really digging deep within
Yeah.
yourself to figure out what you want out of your art or what does your art want out of you. I don't know which it is, but and even thinking about colors. Did you study color theory?
Not really as a study, but it's something that has been very close to me. It's something that really motivates my life every day. Even when I dress myself, I use color. When I feel the mood in my room, I use certain colors to feel in different moods. I'm a person that really like, for example, like nighttime with the time comes, I like those blues. I like how the color changes in the sky. They always create a mood in me. Or even when I write, I notice that I write different things. When I'm in the nighttime, when I'm in the morning, I write different. And that's because of the lighting is different. The colors are different. And that really changed the way I think. So it's not like I study like deeply, but just using my own feelings, how I react to those colors. And I thought that maybe other people feel the same as I do. Since at the end of the day, we are all human beings in many levels. We are equal. We are the same. So many times the same colors create the same reactions in people. Even sometimes can be different. Or maybe for the personal experiences, you associate one color with a different feeling. But in general terms, they almost mean the same for everybody.
I mean, your command of the use of color is just so extraordinary. When I first saw your work, I thought, oh, that's what I was trying to do all this time. I think as an artist, you have an idea in your head of what you want to
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
but you can't always get there. And
exactly.
my mentor Katrine Eisman and I have been talking about this exact thing in terms of like my want to use color in a different way, but I just don't think me and color are as besties as you and color are. But I want to talk about your process because how do you go from having an idea and then creating it? Because if you're going to use color, you have to think about the clothes that you're wearing. And for most of your new work, yes, you're in the image, but I find that like with my hair short now, I
Yeah,
feel like I could be that person in that
sure.
image. And
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, how do you figure out like what you're going to wear? How does it start? Does it start with the clothes? Does it start with the color? Does it start with the location? And then how do you process it? Do you use Photoshop? Walk me through your process a little bit.
Sure. So most of the time it starts with a feeling. I always normally start with the feeling and what is the message that I want to give with that image. So it starts with the feeling, and from that feeling I can figure out the colors, and I'm already know that the flowers and the plants that I have around me. So in that moment I choose which one I want to use. So I start with the feeling, then the color, and then the clothes. Normally, I'm already have my wardrobe that I almost use almost all the same clothes because they are easy to change the color. So I always choose very easy colors to change to any other color. So most of the time, nobody knows the real color of my clothes because they are like, I almost never use the actual color of the dress. So I bought those wardrobe because I know they are easy to change to any color that I want. So but I know if I want to show some skin or I don't want to show any skin, so I just write everything down. So I have the feeling and I have a short poem or short story about the image, and then I come out with the color, and then I choose the flowers or the leaves. I put it down, I choose the wardrobe, and then the color can just, I know I can change it. I see the clothes that I have that I can change to that color that I want, and I just go ahead and start doing it. Because most of the time I shoot at home, so I don't have that problem with the location. But when I shoot outside, it starts with the location. I go around, I see what I have available and what I want to use. And from that, then I go to, I always start with the feeling. If that feeling has to be portrayed outside, like when I showed outside with the tree, I'm already know I have that tree there. And this is the feeling that I want to share. I want to share that solitude, that the world is so big and we are so small. We are here alone. So I know I can use this space. So I go there and I share there. So everything is written down before I even take the camera to do that. And also the best way because I don't waste almost any time because I know what I want to do. I go straight away. I know my pose. For example, if I want to share some vulnerability, I know I have to be crawling or I have to be in some vulnerable pose. If I want to be stronger. I would stand up with my face up, and I know that's what I want to show. So that's the pen. So the pose come naturally when you already have the story. The pose just come depend of the feeling that you want to share. But because your body will position themselves just alone. Because when you feel afraid, when you feel vulnerable, when you feel sad, your body tends to show it because you are sad. You can see it on your body language. The same when you are proud, when you feel good, when you feel that you can do, when you feel confident, your body also show that you are confident. It's it's easy to get to that point once you have the main idea and the story and the feeling. Everything comes easier.
The thing that I love that you do so well is your gradation of color. There's this one image in particular that the first image actually that I stumbled on for you is the one where you're in the yellow dress and you are turned slightly and your hands are out and you're surrounded by, well, maybe hugged. I don't know what, by this bush, by this tree, and then there are yellow flowers,
Yeah, yellow beans. Yeah,
yellow beans, but then the
yeah,
tree itself is this,
blue.
yes, it's blue. It is, gosh, but it's not just blue, it's like a purple blue.
Yeah,
Um,
that. Yeah, I really like that color, that kind of purple blue. Yeah,
so tell me how you do that.
it's just working the color, I guess. That image was created on a Sunday because I have a schedule that I like to take pictures, like at least once a week, at least one picture a week. So it was already Sunday and I didn't have any pictures. So I was like, okay, I'm in this mood. It was all in December, was close to the end of the year. And I was like, I wanted to really embrace the next year. I want to get into the next year. I don't know what I'm going to find, but I want it to be amazing. I want the next year to be great. So I took my camera and I went outside. So that tree was close to my house. So I was walking around thinking and meditating about the next year. And I found that bush. And I was like, I think that is the place when I want to make this image because I'm already feel like this year was great. That's why I'm wearing the yellow dress, like triumphs, like everything have been like I'm confident everything had been right, but I'm getting into the booth, like getting into the new year. Like I don't know what is there because everything is covered. I don't know how it's going to be, but I want it to be great for me. I wanted to be confident in this year. So I create that blue to recreate sometimes in the year, like the past year to symbolize the year that I'm gonna leave behind. That it can be like some sad moments, some bad moments, some moments that wasn't great, but still, if you see the beans, the yellow beans, that doesn't mean I didn't create beautiful things. So all those yellow things in the blue creates those amazing things that also happen between the sad memories or the fun things that can happen in your year. You can still feel good and feel proud of what you have done. You have many things to show off, even if some of the things are not didn't come out the way you wanted to. And I just was going in the bush, like going to the new year. And you can see on the top is a little bit of some light, some bright lights. Like, okay, I'm going in. I don't know what is there, but I want it to be amazing. The year that I left behind have also great things, and everything is going to be fine. So I'm dressing in yellow, a very energetic color, very confident color. I always feel like a winner when I have the yellow on because everybody can see me. I'm not afraid for people to see me. I feel good. I feel confident, and I'm going to my destiny without thinking
Oh,
about anything else. And I thought was a great image for to finish the year because a lot of people will think, okay, this year was not good, but you still have many things to show off, and you can always do better. So don't be afraid. Don't feel ashamed of yourself. Just go ahead. You can always do better. There's always tomorrow. So go ahead and feel good with yourself. That was the kind of feeling that I wanted to portray in that
I
image.
think you did it very well.
Oh, thank you so much.
So, do you use, I'm just curious, you probably don't even use a color wheel, do you?
Sometimes I do.
Ah,
But
that's great.
definitely they come naturally most of the time. I have, because one day I was curious to see why they were looking so good, the colors together. And then I was taking the wheel, the color wheel, and I saw that, oh, because they are complementary. I didn't know that. I found out later because I was like creating naturally without really looking like the theory of the color. I was just doing what I felt like was looking good for me and what I wanted to do. And then I found out that they were complementary color, and I was like, great. It was coming out, it
You're
was
a
amazing.
natural.
Yeah, it was natural. It was like, that's great, that's amazing.
So you spent 2 years living in London.
Yeah, I
How
did.
did that did that happen when you discovered photography, or can you tell me along your career so far? When did that happen?
When I moved to London, I wasn't really into photography as a profession, was the hobby, because I was in London from 2011 to 2013. So I was already doing photography, but just as the hobby. But during that time, honestly, I didn't really have much time to do it. So it kind of faded away. I was still doing it, but because everything got busy, I was there by myself. My family was still in Spain. So I moved there as an adventure. Like, let me see something else, because I have been always living in this island. So I wanted to see something big, like a big city. I wanted to experiment new things. So I moved there and everything was different. And I was away from my family for the first time for such a long time. Everything got busy. I needed to go to work because I needed to pay for the rent. I needed to take care of myself. And I was doing so many things that I didn't even have time to do my hobbies, the things that I like. So actually, that period was kind of a period that I kind of lost myself. Like, I don't know what I really want anymore, because suddenly everything is so different. When I moved here, this thing wasn't what I was looking for. I wanted to grow. I wanted to get better, but I started to think that I'm not myself anymore, because the thing that I used to do all the time, I cannot do them anymore. So I didn't feel myself during that time. So one day during that period, I also went on holiday with my mom on 2012. So in the middle of my trip, and I went to South Korea with my mom. And I was so happy at that time, but I wasn't like that anymore since I moved to the UK. It's been a year. And I was like, that was the first time that I noticed that I have changed a little bit, that it wasn't as cheerful and happy as I used to be. And I thought that maybe it was time for me to actually leave London, because it's not making me any good, because I'm not feeling like I used to be. So during that time, when I came back from them holidays, it was in October. So I went to London. I left my mom in Spain and I went to London. I had really time to think about everything. Like, I wanted to go back to the person that I was before. I want to be cheerful. I want to be dreamy. I want to be that kind of person who always think out of the reality. I don't want to be so gloomy all the time and sad. So I thought that, I think I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to go back to Spain and I'm going to focus again in my art. Because now that I have seen different things, now I really know what I want. I kind of know what I want for my life, and this is not what I want. At that time, I didn't have a clear vision of my profession. I still didn't know photography is going to be what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to create something. I wanted to do something that is creative. That's something that made me feel good to do every day. So I quit my job and decided to pack my things. In January, I came back to the Canary Islands and I started focusing more in my photography. So during that period, I have very little photography things, but when I see them, I don't really like it, because even when I was smiling in the pictures, I can see my eyes and they were looking kind of sad. So, but it's like a reminder, I think so. That's why I keep some of them, to see a reminder that I don't want to see that look anymore in my eyes. So it's just a period, but it helped me to grow, kind of grow and know myself and think about what I really want out of life. because sometimes we think that, oh, I'm this island is so small, nothing is happening. And you think that in a big city, when a lot of things are happening, you're going to be happier. But then you realize that, oh, so I was already happy and I didn't know. I'm already had what I wanted to do, but I didn't know. But now I know it. And I'm ready to embrace it, enjoy it, and create something out of this experience. And I want to grow from this. So it's like it was a period like was sad, but it also was very important for me as a person. So I don't regret about going there and experience that and know that sometimes happiness is closer than what we think.
It's so important, isn't it, to have the contrast?
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
what was it? There's this African saying that says, the boy who's never been outside his village thinks his mother's soup is the best. And sometimes
Yeah,
you really have to leave the village to figure out if your mother's soup is the best. And it
it's the
sounds like
best.
your mother's soup is the best. The Canary
Yeah,
Islands
definitely it was. Definitely
are
it
the
was.
best.
But yes, definitely. I think from there now I'm able to find happiness wherever I go, because now I know kind of know who I am and what I want. And now it will be harder for me to lose myself and lose sign of what I want to do. I think one of the problems at that time too is that I didn't have a clear vision of who I was until that point. I didn't really know who I wanted to achieve in life. So now I feel confident enough that I can go anywhere else and still be myself, not getting loose in what anybody else is doing. Now I can focus on what I want to do without really caring about what the neighbor is doing or
Mm.
the other person is doing. Now I know what I want to do, and now I feel confident that I can go anywhere and still do and still feel like I do when I am at home. I can create my little home everywhere I go, my
That's
little
beautiful.
island anywhere I go.
And then at the same time, too, like for your environmental photos, the island is as much of a subject as you or the person, the subject, you as the subject is. It's
Yeah,
kind of like there are two people because that there's that tree that you use.
yeah.
What kind of a tree is that?
It used to be an olive,
It used to be
an
an olive.
olive tree, but it's dead from a long time. But it's a big field that is close to my house. And I was going there before, but I never saw that tree because from far away you can actually not see it. But I was walking through that area and I saw that that tree is quite big. And I was like, how come I haven't seen this tree before when it's so big? And it's been there for years now, but it's still standing there in the middle. So I thought that that was a good element to use because it's perfect to portray loneliness and when you are alone, you are left alone. So for me, those are islands too. That's I think that's the sense that that's the thing that introduced in my art, like from living in an island, like because you feel like you are left out. You live like you are in the middle of the sea, just floating there. It seems like nothing is going on because you are just a rock in the middle of the sea. So I like to use that reference in my art. So I remember that I didn't like islands before because it's like nothing is going on here. You cannot go by car anywhere. You need to take a plane or you need to take a boat. It's impossible to get out of here. But now I feel like I'm an island person. I
Mm.
really like the island. I really like the isolation a little bit. I like the feeling of a slow life that you can think, you can meditate, you can know yourself, you can see your inside because the things are not going fast. People is calm, the people is not stressed, everybody's happy. So I think that's the beauty of the island. And now I declare myself like an island lover. And if I move, I would like to move from island to island, like going to small places. I really enjoy small places, calm places where you can think.
I wanted to talk about your exhibitions because you are quite prolific
You
And
think so?
I think so. Things always look different from the outside, right? Like you are
Yeah,
very prolific and you
yeah,
do,
definitely.
you're currently, people can buy your prints, everyone, if you're listening.
Yeah,
I already have my mind. I already know which print I want to purchase.
great.
um, so right now, people can purchase your work from
Yeah,
Saatchi
yeah.
Art. Can you tell us how you've come to submit your work to shows and to just put yourself out there?
Yeah, at the beginning, I was thinking that maybe my work wasn't good enough, like few years back, and I decided to not share yet and start like preparing myself. And then when I felt like, okay, I think my art is now good enough for somebody to take their money out of their pockets and pay for it. I think now I can deliver something that is good that I would buy myself. I think now I am ready to actually put my image for sale because at the beginning I was just making them and sharing them in Flickr. I didn't thought to myself that they were good enough to somebody to pay for them. So when I get to that point that okay, now I think I have something meaningful that somebody can want to have as a reminder in their world. I think now I can start looking for ways. So I decided to go to Saatchi and put my work there, and it was well received. And I was like, definitely now I think people want to see it. Now people can feel like they want to see it because I would like to go somewhere to see if I find another artist that is doing similar work. I would like to go and see and buy and have it in my house. So I think that was the point, like being honest with myself and think if, okay, is my art good enough for somebody to want to buy it? Would I buy my prints if I have the opportunity? And when the answer was yes, I thought that okay, so now it's time. Now I feel confident. So I started to apply places like vlogs, magazines, and put my art for sale. So it's very different. It's very important that you have to be confident about what you do when you decided to put your work out there, not only for sale, but also just the fact of sharing your your feelings because you can get hurt if the comments of because if you are not confident enough in somebody criticize your work, you're going to feel bad uh, because you don't feel like okay maybe they are right. But when you already know you are confident, you know that your art is good enough for people to like it, even if everybody's opinion is different. Of course, somebody doesn't gonna like it. Not everybody like Van Gogh or Da Vinci. So even the biggest ones have people who doesn't like what they do. So that doesn't have to bother you. So you have to be confident and prepare yourself, like develop a thick skin. Like, okay, now I can put myself out there and I'm not afraid of people's opinion because those who are gonna like it are gonna enjoy it the same I'm enjoy other people arts, and some people doesn't gonna like it, and that doesn't have to bother me.
Hmm.
It's okay, it's their opinion. So I think when I developed that confidence in my art was I knew that okay, now I'm ready to go.
And hear your family. I'd love to hear about some of your sources of inspiration as we wind down.
Most of my source of inspiration is my own thinking, my own life.
I love what you were saying about the fact that you use yourself as a sense of inspiration.
Yeah,
Because one of the things that's
yeah,
come out of this podcast, a lot of our guests have been saying to go back to yourself. Like, as an artist, you don't need to
yeah,
look outside of yourself. Sure,
exactly.
in nature, in your surroundings,
Yeah,
but you
you
don't
can
need to
find
go to other people to copy them. It should come from
exactly.
you. Yeah.
Exactly, it should come from you definitely to make it personal, to make it different about you because we are a lot of artists right now, but we all have like different experiences, different thoughts, different ideas. So I think to make your art unique, you in some way have to make it about yourself. You need to put in something that nobody else can put in your own experience. I think it's the more unique things you can put that nobody else can. So
Perfect.
even if feeling are universal, of course, what you're going to share, some people are going to feel identified. It's going to come from you for your perception, for your thoughts, from your ideas, and that's what you want to put in your art to make it unique.
Perfect. Well, that's a really great place to end. I wanted to thank you so much for joining us. And before we log off, are there any books that you particularly enjoy that you would mind recommending to our listeners?
It's been a long time that I don't really read books that much. Now lately I'm just reading books like personal development. But I'm a great fan of Agatha Christie, so I would recommend any of her books because they have been a big source and inspiration for me because she's very articulate when she talk about the scenario. So when I was reading her books, I always was able to see the picture in my head. Agatha Christie, it's like crime. Doesn't have to do with my happy flowers, but definitely it's a good exercise because she's very articulate and she really explains really nicely, and you can get that idea of creating a picture in your mind from a reading. So that's what I like about her books.
Well, I will have to start reading her again. I stopped for a while.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, so you have to.
yeah. Fares, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so pleased that we were able to catch up despite technical
Yeah,
difficulties.
yeah,
Um,
definitely. Thanks so much.
and I am looking forward to like keeping up with your work and to see what other
Sure.
things that you come up with. And honestly, like I offline, I can tell you, I would love to hear more about color because I'm obsessed with color
Yeah,
and I'm always trying to
me
think of
too.
how to manipulate it. So, but that's maybe an offline discussion we can
Yeah,
have.
definitely. Yeah, sure.
All
We
right.
can talk offline anytime you want.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Sure.
day.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Thank you so much. It was great. Bye.